18 months. That's how long Elena had been Ji-Hoon's wife. That's how long she'd worn his ring like a shackle and his name like a scar. That's how long the world had watched his tattooed hand rest on her waist at galas and called it love while she felt the ink burn into her skin like a brand that said, mine, but never beloved. The penthouse overlooking the Seoul coastline was a masterpiece. Glass walls. Imported marble. Art worth millions. A cage so beautiful people envied the bird trapped inside. Ji-Hoon touched her in public. Draped his arm across her shoulders for the cameras. Kissed her temple when his rivals were watching. Performed intimacy like a business transaction while his eyes stayed fixed on the horizon, never her face. In private he didn't touch her at all. Didn't speak to her unless logistics required it. Didn't look at her except to ensure she was dressed appropriately for whatever performance he needed that day. She was his queen in the sun. His ghost in the shadows. 18 months of being seen and never noticed. Of being held and never touched. Of screaming silently in a marriage that looked like a fairy tale and felt like drowning. Until the security breach. Until Ji-Hoon decided she needed protection. Until he assigned his best friend, his most trusted enforcer, his brother in all but blood, to be her shadow. Until Kenji started standing outside her door at night and looking at her like she wasn't furniture. Like she wasn't a possession. Like she was a woman suffocating and he was the only one who noticed she'd stopped breathing. And that's when Elena realized. The man meant to guard the cage was the only one offering her the key. If you're still watching right now, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. Subscribe to our channel for stories that can make you smile and can also make you cry for absolute strangers. Now, let's get into the story. The first time Ji-Hoon touched Elena after their wedding night was 3 days later at a business dinner. His hand settled on her lower back as they entered the restaurant. Warm. Possessive. Performed perfectly for the men watching. She felt the heat of his palm through silk and thought maybe the coldness of the ceremony had been nerves. Maybe marriage would thaw whatever ice lived in him. Then they sat down. His hand withdrew. He ordered for both of them without asking what she wanted. Spoke to his associates in Korean she didn't understand. Didn't look at her once except to murmur smile when the waiter brought champagne. That was 18 months ago. She'd learned the rules since then. Learned that touch was currency Ji-Hoon spent only when it bought him something. Respect from rivals who thought a man with a beautiful wife was stable, trustworthy, human. Envy from enemies who saw her on his arm and wondered what other treasures he possessed. Fear from subordinates who understood that a man who could afford to keep something so delicate was not to be crossed. In public he was attentive. Held her chair. Poured her wine. Tucked hair behind her ear with tattooed fingers that looked rough but moved with careful precision. Kissed her temple at charity galas while photographers captured the moment. The ink that covered his hands, his forearms, snaking up his neck, dragons and Korean script and images she didn't understand, pressed against her skin and left no mark but she felt branded anyway. Displayed. In private he was a stranger who shared her address. He slept in his study. Left before dawn. Returned after midnight. Their conversations were transactional. The senator's wife commented on your dress. Wear something more conservative next time. I have a meeting in Tokyo. You'll attend the charity auction alone. Smile. Bid on something. Make them think you're happy. Your hair is too long. Cut it. She cut it. Wore conservative dresses. Smiled at auctions. Played the role of beloved wife to a man who couldn't remember her favorite color. The penthouse became her entire world. 20,000 square feet of imported marble and floor-to-ceiling glass and furniture chosen by designers who'd never asked her opinion. She had a bedroom she slept in alone. A closet full of clothes selected by stylists. A kitchen she wasn't allowed to use because Ji-Hoon employed a private chef. Staff who cleaned around her like she was another piece of furniture. She wasn't allowed to leave without security clearance. Wasn't allowed friends Ji-Hoon hadn't vetted. Wasn't allowed hobbies that didn't photograph well. Wasn't allowed to be anything except his perfect, beautiful, silent wife. The only room that felt like hers was the music room. 3rd floor. East wing. A Steinway piano Ji-Hoon had bought because powerful men's wives play piano. She'd played as a child. Before her father's debts. Before the marriage arrangement. Before she became Elena Park, trophy wife to Seoul's most dangerous man. Now she played at 2 a.m. when the staff was asleep and Ji-Hoon was in his study doing whatever it was men like him did in the dark. Played Chopin and Debussy and pretended the sound filled the emptiness. Pretended she wasn't disappearing. 18 months of this. 547 days of being touched for show and ignored in private. Of being seen and never known. Of being married and utterly alone. She'd stopped crying around month 4. Stopped hoping around month 8. Stopped feeling around month 12. By month 18, Elena had perfected the art of being a beautiful ghost. She smiled on command, wore what she was told, stood where she was placed, and felt nothing. Nothing. Until the morning Ji-Hoon walked into breakfast, a rare appearance, and said 3 words that changed everything. There's been threats. He didn't look up from his phone. Didn't see her stiffen. Didn't care. Security breach. Someone internal. You're vulnerable. What does that mean? Her voice sounded strange. Amused. He finally looked at her. Through her. It means Kenji moves in. Full time. He'll be your shadow until we identify the leak. Kenji? My head of security. You've met him. She had. Briefly. A tall man with careful eyes who stood in corners at events and watched everything. Who'd handed her into cars with a gentleness that felt out of place in Ji-Hoon's world. Who'd never looked at her the way other men did, with hunger or pity or curiosity. He'd looked at her like she was a person. Just once. Just for a moment. And she'd felt it. He'll have the guest room. 3rd floor. Near your music room. Don't bother him. He's working. Ji-Hoon stood. Conversation over. Decision made. When? Elena asked. Tonight. Then he left. And Elena sat in the breakfast room of her glass prison and realized the guard was moving inside the cage. Kenji arrived at 8 p.m. with a single duffel bag and the kind of quiet that felt intentional. Not awkward. Not cold. Just careful. Ji-Hoon wasn't home. Was never home. Had left for Singapore that afternoon without telling Elena he was leaving or when he'd return. The head housekeeper, Mrs. Choi, showed Kenji to the 3rd floor guest room. Elena watched from the music room doorway. Tried to be invisible. Failed. Kenji saw her. Nodded once. Respectful. Nothing more. She disappeared back into the music room and waited for the footsteps to fade. They didn't. 5 minutes later, a knock. Soft. Almost apologetic. She opened the door. Kenji stood there looking uncomfortable in a way that seemed foreign to a man his size. 6'2". Broad shoulders. Hands that had probably broken bones. But his eyes were gentle. Uncertain. Mrs. Park. I wanted to introduce myself properly. I'm Kenji Tanaka. I'll be handling your security. I know who you are. Right. Of course. He shifted his weight. I'll try to be unobtrusive. I know this is an unusual arrangement. You're moving into my home to watch me because my husband thinks someone wants to hurt me. There's nothing usual about it. No. There isn't. Silence. Then, I've been instructed to maintain visual contact whenever you're not in your bedroom. That means I'll be outside your door. Following at a distance during the day. Present during meals. I apologize for the intrusion. You're doing your job. I am. But that doesn't make it less invasive. The acknowledgement surprised her. Ji-Hoon's other security never apologized. Never acknowledged she was human enough to be inconvenienced. It's fine, she said. It wasn't. But what choice did she have? Kenji nodded. Started to leave. Stopped. Mrs. Park? Yes. If you need anything. Anything at all. Even just. He paused, searching for words. Even just someone to call for help if you feel unsafe. I'm here. Something in his tone made her look at him. Really look. He wasn't talking about external threats. He was talking about the threat that lived in this penthouse. The one with tattooed hands and ice in his veins. Thank you, she whispered. He left. And Elena stood in the music room doorway wondering if Ji-Hoon realized he'd just assigned his wife a guard who looked at her like she was worth protecting. The first week was strange. Kenji was everywhere and nowhere. Outside her bedroom in the mornings. In the corner during breakfast she ate alone. Following 3 steps behind when she moved through the house. Never speaking unless spoken to. Never intruding. Just present. Watching. She played piano at 2 a.m. like always. Heard him take position outside the music room door. Didn't stop her. Didn't question it. Just stood there in the dark hallway like a sentinel guarding something precious. Mrs. Choi gossiped to the other staff in Korean she thought Elena didn't understand. Boss's best friend living here now. Watching the wife. Strange. Maybe boss doesn't trust her. Maybe boss finally noticed someone else does. Elena pretended not to hear. But she wondered. On day 8, Ji-Hoon returned from Singapore. Walked past Elena without greeting. Saw Kenji in the hallway. Any issues? None. She's been cooperative. Quiet. No security incidents. Good. Maintain the protocol. She doesn't leave the penthouse without you. Doesn't see anyone without clearance. Doesn't make phone calls I haven't approved. Understood. Ji-Hoon looked at Elena then. Finally. You're behaving. It wasn't a question. It was an observation. Like noting the weather. Yes. Good. He walked to his study. Closed the door. Left his wife and his best friend standing in the hallway with 18 months of loneliness between them and something new neither could name. Kenji's jaw tightened. I'm sorry. For what? For that. The way he speaks to you. You work for him. You don't need to apologize for him. I'm not apologizing for him. I'm apologizing because you deserve better and I'm part of the system keeping you here. Elena stared at him. No one had ever said that. No one had ever acknowledged she was trapped. I should go, Kenji said quickly. I've overstepped. No, you haven't. You're the first person in 18 months who's treated me like I'm real. He looked at her. Something passed between them. Dangerous. Inevitable. You are real, Mrs. Park. Very real. Then he walked away before either of them could make it worse. But the damage was done. Because Elena went to bed that night feeling something she hadn't felt since before the wedding. And Kenji stood outside her door wondering when exactly he'd stopped seeing her as an assignment and started seeing her as a woman drowning 3 feet away from him. Ji-Hoon noticed nothing. Was already planning his next trip. Already forgetting his wife existed beyond the image she projected. Already assuming his best friend's loyalty was absolute. He'd made 3 mistakes. Assigning Kenji as her guard. Leaving them alone. And believing 18 months of neglect hadn't created a woman desperate enough to reach for the first hand that offered warmth. The cage had a guard. But the guard was falling for the prisoner. And neither of them knew how to stop. It happened on day 14. Elena was in the music room at 2 a.m. like clockwork. Playing Chopin's Nocturne in C-sharp minor. The saddest piece she knew. Pouring 18 months of silence into keys that couldn't talk back. She didn't hear him enter. Didn't know Kenji was there until the music stopped and his voice came from behind her. That's beautiful. And heartbreaking. She spun around. He stood in the doorway. Not in his usual position outside. Inside. Crossing a boundary. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude. He stopped. You've been playing for 2 hours. I wanted to make sure you were okay. I'm fine. You're crying. She touched her face. What? She hadn't noticed. It's nothing. Just the music. The music or the life? The question hung between them. Too honest. Too direct. Too dangerous. I should go to bed, she said. Did too fast. The room tilted. She hadn't eaten dinner. Hadn't eaten lunch. Had stopped caring about things like food around the same time she'd stopped caring about things like living. Kenji crossed the room in 3 steps. Caught her elbow. Steadied her. When did you last eat? I don't remember. Mrs. Park, Elena? My name is Elena. Mrs. Park is whoever Ji-Hoon needed me to be at the last event. I'm just Elena. Elena. He said it carefully. Like testing how it felt. When did you last eat, Elena? Does it matter? Yes. Why? Because you matter. 4 words. Simple. Devastating. Completely foreign. She laughed. Sure. Bitter. I'm a possession. A brand. A performance. I don't matter. You're a person. A person who's disappearing because no one's watching. You're watching. I am. And I see you. Actually see you. And what I see is someone who's been alone so long she's forgotten how to ask for help. Elena pulled away from his grip. You don't know anything about me. I know you play piano at 2 a.m. because it's the only time you can breathe. I know you don't eat because no one notices if you do. I know you haven't smiled, actually smiled, not performed one, in the entire 2 weeks I've been here. I know your husband touches you for cameras and ignores you in private. I know you're trapped in a glass cage and everyone thinks you're lucky. Stop. I know you're breaking. And I don't know how to watch it and do nothing. You're supposed to do nothing. You're supposed to guard me. Not care about me. Too late. The words fell between them like glass shattering. Kenji, I know. I know this is wrong. I know he's my oldest friend. I know you're his wife. I know my job is to protect you, not what? Not fall for you. Silence. Just breathing and the echo of Chopin still hanging in the air and a truth neither could take back. You can't, Elena whispered. I know. He'll kill you. I know. Then why are you saying it? Because you asked how I feel. And for 18 months no one's asked you that question. So I'm asking now. How do you feel, Elena? She looked at him. Really looked. Saw the way he stood like he was ready to catch her. The way his eyes held hers like she was worth his complete attention. The way he said her name like it meant something. Seen? She whispered. For the first time in 18 months, I feel seen. Good. This can't happen. I know. He's your best friend. I know. I'm his wife. I know. Then what are we doing? Right now? I'm making sure you eat something. Tomorrow we'll figure out how to survive this without destroying each other. He left. Came back 10 minutes later with soup the chef had left in the warmer. Sat across from her in the music room and watched her eat. Didn't speak. Didn't need to. When she finished, he took the bowl. Better? Yes. Good. Now go to bed. Actual bed. Actual sleep. Will you? She stopped. Couldn't ask it. He answered anyway. I'll be outside your door. Same as always. You're safe. From external threats or internal ones? Both. Even if the internal threat is me. She went to bed. He stood outside her door. And both of them lay awake knowing something had shifted. Some line had been crossed. Some truth had been spoken that couldn't be unspoken. In the morning, Ji-Hoon called. Video from Tokyo. How is she? Cooperative. Quiet. No issues. Good. I'll be back next week. Keep her secure. Always. Ji-Hoon hung up. Never asked to speak to his wife. Never asked if she was happy or healthy or even alive beyond the confirmation that she was secured. Kenji stared at his phone and realized he was protecting Elena from everyone. Including the man who was supposed to love her. Including himself. Including the feelings that were growing every time she looked at him like he was air and she'd been drowning. This couldn't continue. But it would. Because neither of them knew how to stop. Kenji had known Ji-Hoon for 22 years. Since they were 15. Since the streets of Seoul where orphan boys survived by being smarter, faster, meaner than everyone else. Ji-Hoon had saved his life twice. Once from a rival gang. Once from himself. They'd built the empire together. Blood brothers. Kenji had never questioned an order. Never doubted a decision. Never betrayed a trust. Until Elena. He tried to maintain distance after the music room. Stayed in position outside her door. Followed protocol. Kept conversations transactional. It lasted 3 days. On day 4 she fell. Actual fell. Top of the stairs. Dizzy from not eating again. He caught her before she hit marble. Lifted her like she weighed nothing. Carried her to her room while she protested weakly. I'm fine. Put me down. You're not fine. You almost cracked your skull. It doesn't matter. It matters to me. He set her on the bed. Knelt beside her. I level. Why are you doing this to yourself? Doing what? Disappearing. Slowly. On purpose. Maybe I want to disappear. I don't believe that. You don't know me. I know you play Chopin at 2 a.m. I know you read poetry in French. I know you stare at the ocean like you're planning to walk into it. I know you're in pain and no one's helping and He stopped. Couldn't finish. She touched his face. Gentle. Hesitant. First time she touched him. You what? I can't watch this anymore. Can't watch you fade. Can't stand outside your door pretending I'm just doing my job when the truth is I'm staying because leaving you alone feels like abandonment. Kenji, I know. I know this is wrong. He's my brother. He saved my life. I owe him everything. Then why? Because he's destroying you. And loyalty doesn't mean watching someone He stopped. Couldn't say it. Someone you what? Someone I care about suffer because the person who's supposed to protect her treats her like property. You can't care about me. Too late. He'll know. Somehow he'll know. He won't. He doesn't look at you long enough to notice anything. The truth of it hung between them. Brutal. Accurate. What are we doing? Elena whispered. I don't know. But I can't keep pretending anymore. Can't keep acting like you're just an assignment. Like seeing you hurting doesn't kill me. Like, his phone rang. Ji-Hoon. Video call. Kenji stood. Answered. Stepped into the hallway. Brother. Ji-Hoon's face filled the screen. Tokyo skyline behind him. Status. Secured. No incidents. She's behaving? Yes. Good. I'm extending the trip. 2 more weeks. Keep her contained. Understood. Kenji. Yeah. Thank you. For this. I know it's not your usual work. Babysitting my wife. But I trust you. You're the only person I trust with her. The words were knives. Each one cutting deeper. Of course. We're brothers. Always. Since the beginning. You and me against the world. Always, Kenji echoed. The lie tasted like ash. Ji-Hoon hung up. Kenji stood in the hallway staring at his phone. 22 years of brotherhood, of loyalty, of debt. And he was about to betray it all. For a woman he'd known 3 weeks. For a woman married to his best friend. For a woman who looked at him like he was salvation and drowning at the same time. He went back to Elena's room. She was still sitting on the bed. Waiting. He doesn't know, Kenji said. Yet. He won't. I'll make sure of it. How? I don't know. But I'm not letting you destroy yourself because he can't be bothered to notice you're alive. This will end badly. Probably. You'll lose everything. Your position. Your friendship. Maybe your life. I know. Then why risk it? Kenji sat beside her on the bed. Not touching. But close. Close enough to feel her warmth. Because 22 years ago, Ji-Hoon saved me from a gang that would have killed me. He gave me purpose. Family. A reason to survive. And I've spent 2 decades repaying that debt. Being loyal. Being his brother. Never questioning. Never wavering. And now I'm watching him destroy the most beautiful thing he's ever had, and I realize loyalty has limits. Brotherhood has boundaries. And watching you disappear because he's too blind to see what he has, that crosses the line. I'm not worth losing him over. You're worth everything. And the fact that you don't know that proves how much damage he's done. Elena leaned her head on his shoulder. Crossed another line. I don't know how to do this. Neither do I. But we'll figure it out. He'll find out eventually. Let him. I'm tired of pretending. Kenji, I'm not saying we act on this. I'm not saying we cross lines we can't uncross. I'm just saying I'm done pretending you don't matter. Done pretending I'm just following orders. Done pretending my loyalty to him matters more than your life. What if he kills you? Then I'll die knowing I chose right. Finally. After 22 years of choosing him, I'm choosing you. She cried. Quiet. Exhausted. Kenji held her. Crossed every professional boundary. Broke every rule. And didn't care. Because Ji-Hoon had called her property. Had abandoned her for 2 more weeks. Had thanked Kenji for babysitting, like she was a child instead of a woman suffocating in a marriage that looked like love and felt like death. Brotherhood had limits. And Ji-Hoon had just found his. Ji-Hoon came home on day 23. Didn't greet Elena. Went straight to his study for a video conference with associates in Busan. Business. Always business. Elena played piano. 10 p.m. Not her usual 2 a.m. because Ji-Hoon's presence changed everything. Made the house feel smaller. More dangerous. Kenji stood outside the music room like always. She could feel him there even with the door closed. Could feel the weight of 3 weeks of careful distance and crossed lines and conversations they shouldn't have had. She played Rachmaninoff. Aggressive. Emotional. Pouring frustration into keys because she couldn't scream. Couldn't rage. Couldn't tell her husband that his best friend had become the only person who made her feel human. The door opened. She stopped playing. Turned. Kenji stood there. He's still in the meeting. I heard you playing. He stopped. Thought I'd check on you. I'm fine. You're playing Rachmaninoff. You only play Rachmaninoff when you're angry. You've been paying attention. I always pay attention. He stepped inside. Closed the door. Crossed a line they'd been careful not to cross. Being alone behind closed doors while her husband was 50 feet away. Kenji, I know. This is stupid. Dangerous. But I can't stand out there anymore. Can't pretend I'm just security. Can't watch you perform for him at dinner and see how dead your eyes are. He's your best friend. He's a ghost who married a woman and forgot to love her. You can't say that. What? Because it's disloyal? I've been disloyal since the moment I admitted I care about you. Might as well be honest. Honesty gets us killed. Silence is killing you anyway. At least this way you're alive when it happens. She stood from the piano. You need to leave. Before he finishes the meeting. Before someone sees. Let them see. Kenji, let them see that someone actually cares if you're breathing. Let them see that you're not just decoration. Let them see, what? That you're falling for your best friend's wife? That'll go well. I'm already fallen. Have been since you asked me to call you Elena. Since I saw you cry over Chopin. Since I realized you were disappearing and no one was trying to stop you. This can't happen. It's already happening. He stepped closer. She should back away. Should maintain distance. Should remember she was married. Should remember he was Ji-Hoon's brother. Should remember this would end in blood. She didn't move. If we do this, she whispered, there's no going back. I know. He'll kill you. Probably. I'm not worth dying for. You're worth everything. Then he kissed her. Soft. Careful. Like she was something precious that might break. And Elena, who hadn't been touched with gentleness in 18 months, who hadn't been kissed like she mattered, who hadn't felt wanted instead of displayed, kissed him back. The glass shattered. Every rule. Every boundary. Every careful line they'd drawn. Gone. His hands cupped her face. Gentle. Reverent. Nothing like Ji-Hoon's calculated touches. Nothing like being property. This was being cherished. She pulled back. He's 50 feet away. I know. This is insane. I know. We have to stop. I know. Neither moved. Kenji, one more. Just one more. Then I'll go. Then we'll pretend this didn't happen. Then we'll go back to protocol. He kissed her again. Deeper. Desperate. Like drowning people reaching for air. The door to Ji-Hoon's study opened. Footsteps in the hallway. They broke apart. Kenji straightened. Professional. But his eyes stayed on hers. Tomorrow, he whispered. We talk tomorrow. There's nothing to talk about. There's everything to talk about. But right now you need to be visible. Need to be the perfect wife. I need to forget this happened. Can you? Can you? No. Not even if I wanted to. Ji-Hoon appeared in the hallway. Saw Kenji outside the music room. Saw Elena at the piano. Saw nothing wrong because he wasn't looking for wrong. Elena. I'm going to bed. Don't stay up too late. Of course. He walked past without touching her. Without asking about her day. Without noticing she'd been kissed 30 seconds ago by the man he trusted most. Then he left. And Elena sat at the piano in the music room where she'd just kissed her husband's best friend while said husband slept 50 feet away. She should feel guilty. Should feel afraid. Should feel something other than this desperate, drowning hope that maybe, someone finally loved her back. She played one more piece. Debussy. Claire de Lune. Soft. Beautiful. Hopeful. Kenji stood outside her door all night. Guarding her. Wanting her. Knowing he'd just crossed a line that would end in blood or freedom. There was no middle ground. Not anymore. The glass had shattered. And neither of them knew how to put it back together. If you're still watching, drop a "still watching" in the comments, because this next part changes everything. Ji-Hoon decided to have dinner at home. First time in 3 weeks. Elena got the notification from Mrs. Choi at 4 p.m. Mr. Park will be dining in tonight. 7 p.m. He's requested you join him. Requested. As if she had a choice. She wore the dress Ji-Hoon preferred. Navy. Conservative. The one that made her look like a senator's wife instead of a prisoner. Kenji helped her with the zipper. Mistake. His fingers brushed her spine. Lingered half a second too long. You look beautiful, he whispered. I look like what he wants me to look like. You look beautiful anyway. They hadn't talked about the kiss. 3 days of careful distance and professional boundaries and pretending nothing had changed. Everything had changed. At 6:55 p.m., Elena entered the dining room. Ji-Hoon sat at the head of the table. Reading something on his tablet. Didn't look up when she entered. Sit. She sat. To his right. The chair she always occupied. The one that put her close enough to be seen, far enough to be ignored. Ji-Hoon finally looked at her. You cut your hair. She cut it 2 months ago. Yes. It's better longer. Grow it back. Okay. That was the extent of their conversation until the food arrived. Then Ji-Hoon spoke again. Kenji will be joining us. What? For dinner. He's been here 3 weeks. Seems rude not to include him. It wasn't hospitality. It was strategy. But Elena didn't understand the game yet. Kenji entered at 7:02. Hesitated when he saw the third chair. Set between them. Closer to Elena than to Ji-Hoon. Test. He sat. Boss. Thank you for including me. You've been eating alone for 3 weeks. Seemed wrong. The chef brought wine. Ji-Hoon gestured to Kenji. Pour for her. You know what she likes. Kenji's hand stilled. Just for a moment. Just long enough to be noticed. He recovered. Lifted the bottle. Beaujolais. Elena's favorite. She'd mentioned it once to Kenji during a late-night conversation about nothing and everything. Ji-Hoon didn't know her favorite wine. Had never asked. But Kenji knew. And Ji-Hoon was watching the way Kenji poured. Careful. Attentive. The exact amount Elena preferred. 3/4 full. Not the standard half. You've been paying attention, Ji-Hoon said. To her preferences. Most security wouldn't notice. I notice everything. It's my job. Is it? The question hung. Dangerous. Loaded. Keeping Mrs. Park safe requires understanding her routines. Her preferences. What makes her comfortable? Comfortable. Interesting word. Ji-Hoon sipped his own wine. Has she been comfortable? As comfortable as possible given the circumstances. Which circumstances? Being confined. Having security shadow her. The threats. Right. The threats. Ji-Hoon smiled. Didn't reach his eyes. Tell me, Elena. Has Kenji made you feel safe? She felt the trap. Didn't know how to avoid it. Yes. Safe how? I don't understand. Secure? Protected? Or something else? Kenji's jaw tightened. Boss, if there's a concern about my performance, your performance is perfect. Too perfect maybe? 3 weeks and you know her wine preferences. Her schedule. The way she takes her coffee. Most guards don't get that familiar. I'm thorough. You're something. Ji-Hoon cut his steak. Precise. Controlled. Elena, how does Kenji take his coffee? She froze. I don't know. No? Strange. He knows yours. Black. 2 sugars. You'd think if you'd spent 3 weeks together, you'd notice his preferences too. I'm not security. I don't pay attention the same way. Or maybe you pay attention to different things. He looked at Kenji. She plays piano. Late at night. You've noticed? Yes. Does it bother you? The noise? No. It's beautiful. Beautiful. You said that before. When you mentioned her playing to me on the phone. Beautiful and heartbreaking, I think you said. Kenji said nothing. Most security would call it noise. Or a routine to monitor. But you called it beautiful. Why? Because it is. She's talented. She is. Though I wouldn't know. I've never actually listened. The admission was casual. Brutal. Confirming everything Elena already knew. He didn't care. Didn't notice. Didn't love her. I've been thinking, Ji-Hoon continued, about this arrangement. About having my best friend live here. Guard my wife. Spend more time with her than I do. It's temporary, Kenji said. Until the threat is neutralized. Is it? The threat? Or are we creating new ones? I don't follow. Don't you? Ji-Hoon leaned back. 3 weeks of proximity. Late nights. Shared space. A lonely wife. A loyal friend. It's a dangerous combination. Nothing inappropriate has occurred. I didn't say it had. I'm simply observing that the conditions are ripe for complications. Elena's hands shook. She hid them under the table. There are no complications, she said. Ji-Hoon looked at her. Really looked. For the first time in weeks. Good. Because you're my wife. And he's my brother. And betrayal, from either of you, would require consequences neither would survive. There's no betrayal, Kenji said. Voice steady. Eyes meeting Ji-Hoon's. I would never. Never is a long time. And you've never been tested like this before. Isolated. With someone beautiful. Someone neglected. Someone who might look at you like your salvation simply because you're not me. That's not, isn't it? Ji-Hoon smiled. And maybe that'll wake him up. Or maybe it'll get us killed. Kenji reached across the table. Took her hand. Visible. Deliberate. Crossing the line Ji-Hoon had just drawn. Then we'll die knowing we chose each other. Finally. Honestly. Without pretending. Kenji, I'm done pretending. If he's watching, let him watch. Let him see that someone actually loves you. Let him see what he's been too blind to notice. He stood. Walked away before she could respond. Before Ji-Hoon's cameras caught more than they already had. And Elena sat alone at the dinner table in the penthouse that had been her prison for 18 months and realized. The cage door was open. But stepping through it meant war. Ji-Hoon called Kenji into his study at midnight. Elena heard them through the walls. Voices low. Tense. Then silence. Kenji emerged 20 minutes later. Face pale. Jaw set. She was in the hallway. Waiting. Against protocol. Against safety. Against everything. What did he say? Kenji looked at her. Something dark in his eyes. He's sending me to Busan. Negotiation with the Choi family. They've been encroaching on territory. That's not unusual. It is when he's sending me alone. No backup. No security team. Just me. Walking into a room with 12 men who want him dead. Her blood went cold. That's suicide. That's the point. What? He's testing me. Seeing if I'll go. If I'm still loyal. If I'll die for him like I promised 22 years ago. You can't go. I have to. If I refuse, he knows. Knows I've crossed the line. knows I'm choosing you over him. And then what? Then he kills me anyway. But he kills you too. For the betrayal. For making me disloyal. So you're just going to walk into a death trap? I'm going to do my job. Prove my loyalty. Come back alive. And then, he stopped. Then what? Then I'm taking you out of here. Away from him. Away from this. I don't care what it costs. Kenji, I'm done playing his games. Done pretending you're just an assignment. Done choosing him over you. He's your brother. He stopped being my brother the moment he married you and treated you like furniture. Brothers protect. He destroys. There's a difference. When do you leave? Dawn. He wants me gone before the day staff arrives. Doesn't want witnesses to the fact he's sending his best friend into enemy territory unarmed. Unarmed. He said weapons would insult the Choi family. Make them think I don't trust their hospitality. It's bullshit. He wants me vulnerable. Elena grabbed his arm. Don't go. Please. Just we'll leave now. Tonight. Before he can stop us. And go where? He owns this city. Owns half the country. We wouldn't make it to the airport. Then we fight. Here. Now. Against him? Against his security? Against an empire? Against anything that takes you away from me. Kenji cupped her face. I'll come back. I promise. You can't promise that. I can. Because I have something to come back to. For 22 years I had loyalty. Duty. Brotherhood. Now I have love. And love is stronger. Love gets you killed. Maybe. But at least I'll die knowing what it feels like. To be loved back. To matter to someone. To be chosen. You've always mattered. Not like this. Not like you. He kissed her. Desperate. Like goodbye. She pulled back. If you die, I won't. If you die, I'll kill him myself. I'll find a way. You'll survive. You'll leave this place. You'll play piano somewhere without glass walls and tattooed hands and men who think love is possession. You'll be free. I don't want freedom without you. Then I'll make sure you never have to choose. He left at 5 a.m. Elena watched from the window. Black car. No security detail. Just Kenji. Alone. Walking into death because his best friend wanted to test if he'd die for him. She waited until the car disappeared. Then went to Ji-Hoon's study. Didn't knock. He was awake. Expected her. You sent him to die. I sent him to negotiate. With no backup. No weapons. No chance. If he's loyal, he'll survive. If he's not, you lose the best man you've ever had. Or I eliminate a traitor before he destroys everything I've built. He's not a traitor. Isn't he? Ji-Hoon looked at her. Actually looked. You think I don't see it? The way he looks at you? The way you look at him. You're paranoid. I'm observant. 3 weeks of him guarding you and suddenly you're eating again. Playing piano with hope instead of despair. Smiling. Actually smiling. He did that. Not me. And I need to know if he's still mine or if you've taken him. I haven't taken anything. Haven't you? Ji-Hoon stood. Walked to her. Closer than he'd been in months. You're my wife. My possession. My brand. And he's my brother. My weapon. My loyalty. You don't get to take that from me. Maybe he chose to leave. Men don't leave me. They die for me. That's the arrangement. That's the oath. And if Kenji's forgotten that, if he's put you above 22 years of brotherhood, then he deserves what's coming. You'll kill him. If necessary. For what? For caring about me? For treating me like I'm human? For betraying me? For crossing a line? For making me look weak? You are weak. You're so terrified of feeling anything that you'd rather kill your best friend than admit you failed at being a husband. Ji-Hoon grabbed her arm. Not hard, but firm. First time he'd touched her without an audience. Be careful, Elena. You're my wife. But wives can be replaced. Especially treacherous ones. Then replace me. Divorce me. Let me go. Never. You're mine. Until death. That was the vow. And I keep my vows. He released her. Now get out. And pray Kenji comes back alive. Because if he doesn't, you'll spend the rest of your life wondering if your feelings killed him. She left. Went to her room. Locked the door. And waited. 6 hours. 10 hours. 14 hours. No word. No call. No confirmation Kenji was alive. At midnight her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. Elena. Kenji's voice. Rough. Exhausted. Alive. You're okay. I'm okay. It was a setup. But I survived. I'm coming home. When? 2 hours. Maybe 3. But I'm coming. And when I do, what? We leave. Tonight. No more waiting. No more games. We take whatever we can carry and we run. He'll find us. Let him. I'm done choosing him. Done dying for him. Done pretending loyalty matters more than love. Are you with me? Elena looked at the door. At the glass walls. At the cage she'd lived in for 18 months. I'm with you. Always. 2 hours. Be ready. He hung up. And Elena started packing. Not much. Just essentials. Just enough. Because in 2 hours she was either escaping or dying trying. Either way she was done being Ji-Hoon's ghost. Kenji never made it to the penthouse. Ji-Hoon was waiting in Elena's room when she finished packing. Sitting in the chair by the window. Calm. Controlled. Terrifying. Going somewhere? She dropped the bag. Don't lie. I've had enough lies. From you. From him. From everyone who thinks I'm too stupid to notice when I'm being betrayed. Ji-Hoon? He's downstairs. In the lobby. I had security detain him. Told them he was compromised. A threat. They believed me because I'm the boss and he's just the man stupid enough to fall for my wife. Where is he? Safe. For now. Depends on what you tell me. I'll tell you anything. Just don't hurt him. Anything? Good. Let's start with the truth. Do you love him? She could lie. Should lie. Save them both. But she was done lying. Done pretending. Yes. Since when? I don't know. Slowly. Then all at once. He saw me. Actually saw me. Do you know what that's like? To be invisible for 18 months and then suddenly matter? You've always mattered. You're my wife. I'm your possession. Your brand. Your performance piece. I've never been your wife. Ji-Hoon stood. I gave you everything. This penthouse. Clothes. Safety. Luxury most women would kill for. You gave me a cage. A beautiful, expensive cage. But still a cage. And he gave you what? Tension. False promises? The illusion that a man like him could keep you safe. He gave me humanity. He asked how I felt. When did you ever do that? I don't need to ask. You're my wife. Your feelings are irrelevant to the arrangement. That's the problem. I'm not an arrangement. I'm a person. And he's the only one who remembered that. Ji-Hoon's calm cracked. He's my brother. 22 years. He owed me everything. And you took him. You poisoned him. You made him weak. I didn't take anything. He chose. Just like I'm choosing now. You don't get to choose. You're mine. I'm not. I never was. You married me because your rivals expected it. Because a wife made you look stable. Human. But you never wanted me. Never loved me. Never even tried. Love is weakness. I built an empire by cutting out weakness. Then cut me out. Divorce me. Let me go. No. Because letting you go means admitting I lost. And I don't lose. The door burst open. Kenji. Bleeding from his temple. Hands zip-tied. 2 guards dragging him. Let her go. Kenji's voice was raw. Desperate. Ji-Hoon smiled. Or what? You'll fight me? Your brother? The man you swore an oath to? You stopped being my brother the moment you hurt her. I never touched her. Exactly. You never touched her. Never loved her. Never treated her like anything except property. So yeah, I crossed the line. I fell for your wife. And I'd do it again because she deserves better than you. Ji-Hoon pulled a gun. Pointed it at Kenji. Do you know what the penalty is for betrayal? I know. And I don't care. Shoot me. But let her go first. Let her walk out of here. Let her be free. Free? She's my wife. She doesn't get freedom. Elena stepped between them. Then shoot me. If I'm your possession, if I'm your property, then destroy me. But don't hurt him. He did nothing except show me kindness. Kindness? Is that what we're calling it? It's more than you ever gave me. Ji-Hoon's hand shook. Just slightly. I gave you everything. You gave me nothing that mattered. And now I'm taking it. I'm leaving. With him. Tonight. And you can shoot us both or you can let us go. But either way, I'm done being your ghost. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret is not leaving sooner. Ji-Hoon lowered the gun. Go. Both of you. Get out. What? You want freedom? Take it. Walk out. See how long you last without my protection. Without my money. Without my empire. We'll survive. Will you? He's marked now. Every rival I have will know he betrayed me. We'll hunt him. Kill him. And you'll watch. You'll watch the man you think you love die because you were selfish enough to take him from me. Better to die free than live in a cage. Kenji looked at her. You're sure? I've never been more sure of anything. Ji-Hoon laughed. Bitter. Broken. Then go. But know this, I'll never forget. Never forgive. And when you come crawling back because the world is crueler than I ever was, I won't be here. You'll have nothing. No husband. No home. No safety. Just each other. And we'll see how long that lasts. Elena grabbed Kenji's tied hands. Cut him loose. The guards looked at Ji-Hoon. He nodded. They cut the zip ties. Kenji grabbed Elena's hand. They walked toward the door. Elena. Ji-Hoon's voice stopped her. She turned. You were the most beautiful thing I ever owned. And I destroyed you by never realizing you weren't meant to be owned. No. You destroyed yourself by thinking people could be owned at all. They left. Walked out of the penthouse. Out of the glass cage. Into the night with nothing but each other. Behind them, Ji-Hoon stood alone in the empire he'd built. Surrounded by luxury. Drowning in silence. Finally understanding what he'd lost. Not a wife. Not a possession. A woman who could have loved him if he'd ever bothered to see her. But he hadn't. And now she was gone. And all his power. All his money. All his empire. Couldn't bring her back. And maybe that'll wake him up. Or maybe it'll get us killed. Kenji reached across the table. Took her hand. Visible. Deliberate. Crossing the line Ji-Hoon had just drawn. Then we'll die knowing we chose each other. Finally. Honestly. Without pretending. Kenji, I'm done pretending. If he's watching, let him watch. Let him see that someone actually loves you. Let him see what he's been too blind to notice. He stood. Walked away before she could respond. Before Ji-Hoon's cameras caught more than they already had. And Elena sat alone at the dinner table in the penthouse that had been her prison for 18 months and realized. The cage door was open. But stepping through it meant war. Ji-Hoon called Kenji into his study at midnight. Elena heard them through the walls. Voices low. Tense. Then silence. Kenji emerged 20 minutes later. Face pale. Jaw set. She was in the hallway. Waiting. Against protocol. Against safety. Against everything. What did he say? Kenji looked at her. Something dark in his eyes. He's sending me to Busan. Negotiation with the Choi family. They've been encroaching on territory. That's not unusual. It is when he's sending me alone. No backup. No security team. Just me. Walking into a room with 12 men who want him dead. Her blood went cold. That's suicide. That's the point. What? He's testing me. Seeing if I'll go. If I'm still loyal. If I'll die for him like I promised 22 years ago. You can't go. I have to. If I refuse, he knows. Knows I've crossed the line. Knows I'm choosing you over him. And then what? Then he kills me anyway. But he kills you too. For the betrayal. For making me disloyal. So you're just going to walk into a death trap? I'm going to do my job. Prove my loyalty. Come back alive. And then, he stopped. Then what? Then I'm taking you out of here. Away from him. Away from this. I don't care what it costs. Kenji, I'm done playing his games. Done pretending you're just an assignment. Done choosing him over you. He's your brother. He stopped being my brother the moment he married you and treated you like furniture. Brothers protect. He destroys. There's a difference. When do you leave? Dawn. He wants me gone before the day staff arrives. Doesn't want witnesses to the fact he's sending his best friend into enemy territory unarmed. Unarmed. He said weapons would insult the Choi family. Make them think I don't trust their hospitality. It's bullshit. He wants me vulnerable. Elena grabbed his arm. Don't go. Please. Just we'll leave now. Tonight. Before he can stop us. And go where? He owns this city. Owns half the country. We wouldn't make it to the airport. Then we fight. Here. Now. Against him? Against his security? Against an empire? Against anything that takes you away from me. Kenji cupped her face. I'll come back. I promise. You can't promise that. I can. Because I have something to come back to. For 22 years I had loyalty. Duty. Brotherhood. Now I have love. And love is stronger. Love gets you killed. Maybe. But at least I'll die knowing what it feels like. To be loved back. To matter to someone. To be chosen. You've always mattered. Not like this. Not like you. He kissed her. Desperate. Like goodbye. She pulled back. If you die, I won't. If you die, I'll kill him myself. I'll find a way. You'll survive. You'll leave this place. You'll play piano somewhere without glass walls and tattooed hands and men who think love is possession. You'll be free. I don't want freedom without you. Then I'll make sure you never have to choose. He left at 5 a.m. Elena watched from the window. Black car. No security detail. Just Kenji. Alone. Walking into death because his best friend wanted to test if he'd die for him. She waited until the car disappeared. Then went to Ji-Hoon's study. Didn't knock. He was awake. Expected her. You sent him to die. I sent him to negotiate. With no backup. No weapons. No chance. If he's loyal, he'll survive. If he's not, you lose the best man you've ever had. Or I eliminate a traitor before he destroys everything I've built. He's not a traitor. Isn't he? Ji-Hoon looked at her. Actually looked. You think I don't see it? The way he looks at you? The way you look at him. You're paranoid. I'm observant. 3 weeks of him guarding you and suddenly you're eating again. Playing piano with hope instead of despair. Smiling. Actually smiling. He did that. Not me. And I need to know if he's still mine or if you've taken him. I haven't taken anything. Haven't you? Ji-Hoon stood. Walked to her. Closer than he'd been in months. You're my wife. My possession. My brand. And he's my brother. My weapon. My loyalty. You don't get to take that from me. Maybe he chose to leave. Men don't leave me. They die for me. That's the arrangement. That's the oath. And if Kenji's forgotten that, if he's put you above 22 years of brotherhood, then he deserves what's coming. You'll kill him. If necessary. For what? For caring about me? For treating me like I'm human? For betraying me? For crossing a line? For making me look weak? You're weak. You're so terrified of feeling anything that you'd rather kill your best friend than admit you failed at being a husband. Ji-Hoon grabbed her arm. Not hard, but firm. First time he'd touched her without an audience. Be careful, Elena. You're my wife. But wives can be replaced. Especially treacherous ones. Then replace me. Divorce me. Let me go. Never. You're mine. Until death. That was the vow. And I keep my vows. He released her. Now get out. And pray Kenji comes back alive. Because if he doesn't, you'll spend the rest of your life wondering if your feelings killed him. She left. Went to her room. Locked the door. And waited. 6 hours. 10 hours. 14 hours. No word. No call. No confirmation Kenji was alive. At midnight her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. Elena. Kenji's voice. Rough. Exhausted. Alive. You're okay. I'm okay. It was a setup. But I survived. I'm coming home. When? 2 hours. Maybe 3. But I'm coming. And when I do, what? We leave. Tonight. No more waiting. No more games. We take whatever we can carry and we run. He'll find us. Let him. I'm done choosing him. Done dying for him. Done pretending loyalty matters more than love. Are you with me? Elena looked at the door. At the glass walls. At the cage she'd lived in for 18 months. I'm with you. Always. 2 hours. Be ready. He hung up. And Elena started packing. Not much. Just essentials. Just enough. Because in 2 hours she was either escaping. Or dying trying. Either way she was done being Ji-Hoon's ghost. They drove for 6 hours. No destination. Just away. Kenji's hands tight on the wheel. Elena staring out the window watching Seoul disappear behind them. The penthouse. The glass walls. The cage. All of it fading into city lights that looked like stars dying. They stopped at a motel outside Incheon. Anonymous. The kind of place that didn't ask questions. Kenji paid cash. Got a room on the second floor facing the parking lot so he could see anyone coming. Old habits. Security protocols. Except now he was the threat. The betrayer. The man who'd broken a 22-year oath for a woman he'd known 6 weeks. They stood in the room. Single bed. Peeling wallpaper. Nothing like the luxury they'd left. This is it, Elena said. This is freedom. Are you disappointed? No. I'm terrified. And relieved. And alive. Actually alive. For the first time in 18 months. Kenji pulled her close. He'll come after us. You know that. Let him. I'm done running from ghosts. He's not a ghost. He's very real. Very dangerous. Very capable of what? Killing us. At least we'd die free. Die together. Die having chosen each other instead of living in cages pretending we're safe. You weren't just pretending. You were safe. He never hurt you. He erased me. Slowly. Carefully. That's worse than hitting. That's making you disappear while everyone watches and calls it love. Kenji touched her face. I see you. I've always seen you. I know. That's why I'm here. They didn't sleep. Sat on the bed talking until sunrise. About everything. About nothing. About the life they'd left and the life they'd build. I don't have money, Kenji said. He'll freeze my accounts. My contacts. Everything I built in 22 years, gone. We'll figure it out. I don't know how to do anything except security. Except violence. Except protect people who pay me. Then protect me. Not because you're paid. Because you choose to. I'll always choose you. Even when it gets hard? Especially when it gets hard. Morning came. They bought clothes at a convenience store. Cheap jeans. T-shirts. Nothing designer. Nothing branded. Elena looked at herself in the bathroom mirror. No makeup. No styled hair. No performance. Just her. I don't recognize myself, she said. Kenji appeared behind her. Good. That means you're free. What if I don't know how to be free? Then we'll learn together. They drove south. Busan. Jeju. Anywhere but Seoul. Anywhere Ji-Hoon's reach was weaker. They changed motels every night. Never stayed long enough to be noticed. Lived on convenience store food and each other and the desperate hope that distance would save them. 3 weeks in, Kenji's phone buzzed. Blocked number. He answered. You're still alive. Impressive. Ji-Hoon's voice. What do you want? To tell you were right. About her. About me. About everything. I don't need your confession. I'm not confessing. I'm warning. I've decided to let you go. Not because I forgive you. But because watching you run is more satisfying than killing you quickly. We're not running. We're living. Call it what you want. But know this, you'll always be looking over your shoulder. Always wondering when I'll change my mind. Always waiting for the moment I decide your betrayal requires blood after all. I can live with that. Can she? Can the woman you stole live knowing she destroyed a 22-year brotherhood? Knowing men died because I was distracted by her betrayal? Knowing she's the reason you'll never be safe? She's the reason I'm finally alive. That's worth any price. We'll see. Give it a year. 2 years. See if love survives poverty. Survival. Constant fear. See if she still looks at you like salvation when you can't give her the life she had. She never wanted that life. She wanted to be seen. And I see her. That's enough. For now. But eventually seeing her won't pay rent. Won't keep her safe. Won't? Kenji hung up. Elena touched his arm. What did he say? That we'll regret this. That love isn't enough. That eventually we'll realize we made a mistake. Do you believe him? No. Because 18 months in a cage taught me something. Safety without freedom is just a prettier prison. And I'd rather be hunted and free than safe and owned. Me too. 6 months later they were in a small apartment in Jeju. Working. Surviving. Building. Elena taught piano to children. Kenji did private security for local businesses. Nothing glamorous. Nothing empire building. Just honest work that let them sleep at night. No glass walls. No performances. No brands. Just them. 1 year later, Elena played piano in a small cafe. Public performance. First time since leaving. Kenji watched from the corner. Still guarding. Still protecting. Still choosing her. She played Claire de Lune. The hopeful piece. The free piece. When she finished, scattered applause. She looked at Kenji. He smiled. And Elena realized, this was what love looked like. Not possession. Not performance. Just presence. Just choice. Just freedom. Ji-Hoon called one last time. 2 years after they left. I'm getting married. Thought you should know. Congratulations. She's nothing like Elena. She's obedient. Grateful. Everything a wife should be. Then you'll be very happy. Will I? Or will I spend the rest of my life comparing her to the one who got away? That's your prison. Not mine. Maybe. But at least I'm rich and alone. You're poor and pretending love is enough. It is enough. Because she chose me. Not my money. Not my power. Just me. Can your new wife say the same? Ji-Hoon hung up. Never called again. And Kenji stood in the small apartment in Jeju watching Elena cook dinner in their tiny kitchen and realized. He traded an empire for a woman. 22 years of loyalty for 6 weeks of love. Everything he'd built for everything that mattered. And he'd make that trade again. Every single time. Because love wasn't possession. Love was choice. And every day Elena chose him. Not because she had to. Because she wanted to. That was worth more than any empire. That was freedom. That was love. That was everything. If you made it this far, thank you, seriously. Here's what I want to know. Is it love or betrayal when you choose someone over a lifetime of loyalty? Can freedom be worth losing everything? Comment, freedom, if you think they made the right choice. Comment, betrayal, if some oaths can't be broken. Where are you watching from? Have you ever had to choose between safety and being truly seen? Subscribe if you haven't. These stories need you. Next week, she was the mistress for 5 years, then attended his funeral and discovered she wasn't the only one. Until then, remember, the most beautiful cages are still cages. Being seen is worth more than being kept. And sometimes the greatest love story starts with the greatest betrayal. Love isn't possession. Love is choice. Every single day.